December 31st, 2003, the Kenyan government enacted the Persons with Disabilities Act, 2003. The Act defines disability as a physical, sensory, mental, or other impairment, including any visual, hearing, learning, or physical incapability, which impacts on social, economic, or environmental participation. It was put into place to formulate and develop measures and policies designed to ensure that persons with disabilities are educated, employed, and participate fully in recreational and cultural activities. There has been no systematic survey done to identify and determine the exact numbers of children with disabilities in Kenya. A rapid assessment was conducted in 2000 by the United Nations Children Fund. It was estimated that approximately 10% of Kenyan children have a disability of some sort. The assessment also showed that most of the children with disabilities are able to articulate their own beliefs, feelings, and dreams and the changes they want in their lives.
The mindset of people in Kenya and other developing countries is that people with disabilities are cursed by God, and they either get divorced because they blame each other for the curse, or they abandon the child at birth. And in a lot of cases, they'll actually kill the child because they believe that that's bringing a curse on their household.
The biggest percentage of the people view disability as a kind of a curse. So when they see a child with disability, they just think this one cannot do anything and cannot contribute anything to the society.
Kenyans have different attitudes towards people with disabilities. There are those who are still very negative. When they see a handicapped child, they wouldn't like even to come close to that child. They will always assume that they would also be handicapped by interacting with a handicapped child.
In a recent workshop sponsored by Kupenda to educate local teachers in Kenya about working with children with disabilities, a question was asked by the local teachers. The question was, can we catch their disabilities by working with these children?
And there are those who even fear coming near to these children. We have a teacher who said he can't bear to see these children. Even if they try to smile at him, he tries to dodge them.
Okay, my name is Anthony Jomo Maina, and unfortunately I met a doctor who was a drunk, and he used the wrong injection for me, and he pierced my right leg, and the injection broke inside my bone. It pierced my bone and it got broken. So unfortunately, sometimes later, back in 1995, my mother passed away. So after passing away, I had to go back home to my father, who had married another wife. And as a matter of fact, my stepmother was so harsh to me, and till now that is why I'm trying this luck. I'm trying to look for anyone who can help me. I was wondering what's happening. What does God want to do with this life? You know, I'm handicapped, and everybody who is taking care of me is dying.
This is the grandmother of the child. Since 93, okay, 1993 was born when he was well, and he found that the boy, the head was just enlarging. The head was so big and the body was so thin. He's bright, but sometimes he has a problem of forgetting things that he had learned them. Sometimes the conversion, they can come in even if the boy is in a sleep. By the time the boy was born, the mother refused this boy. Even he went to an extent of giving the boy to another mother. And that time, he has not been taking care of the boy completely. Even up to date, has not been taking care of the boy. And that's why the grandmother is staying with the boy. Yeah.
Because the mother didn't want him because he was handicapped.
Yeah, that's the reason, the major reason.
I have an example of a cousin brother who happened to have a deaf child. He's been giving me an answer that, well, this child cannot learn. This child will not be of any benefit at the end of the day. Why should I spend so much of my resources? And the sad story about this child, when the other family members are going to the farm, this child is left at home all alone. And one day, this child left home tracing the parents who had left for the farm. And because this child has not been exposed within the environment, the child took the wrong way. And this child got lost. For a number of days, the people went searching for the child, but they could not find him. And after 10 days, the child was picked only when he's already dead.
She's only staying with the father, who is unemployed. He doesn't have an employment. So she's just left that way, without being attended to. You can just see the way she is, very rough. So she stays alone, without any company. You see, she doesn't have speech because she has no friends.
She has no speech because she has no friends.
Yeah. Because you learn speech because you have company. So you hear a word from somebody, then you try to imitate. So this one lacks company. The friends run. They run away from. They run away from her. They run away from her because of the disability. She looks dirty. You see, she's not taken care of, and you can see she's without pants. It's quite pathetic.
This is where she lives?
This is where she lives. There's no bed, no sheets. You see, there's nothing at all. There's no wall. So you can just imagine all that cold toward the night. So it is quite miserable.
And they see, oh, this one has a disability. This one is not normal. They find a way of doing away with that child.
So they killed the child.
They kill the child.
I was told that if I was born in Kenya when I was born in 1974, it's most likely that I would have been killed because of being born with one arm.
Within the locality, if you gave birth to a child who is already limping, or a child who has some fingers, or a child with spina bifida, they used to say that was a curse, and that child was immediately going to be drowned. And in some other cases, they used to sit on them. They used to sit on the child up to the last minute, and then they take the child, and they even used to bury them under their beds. They were not even buried outside the houses. They used to sit on them, then they dig under the mother's bed, and then they bury the child inside there.
Okay. The handicapped child had to be eliminated because they had a feeling that this child is abnormal and he may cause more problems in future.
Kangizwe mumo kuna kiacha maji mutangao maji bevo mumo oyana guluka nanza yamana gocha panda ga birwa goshwe mazina kupuleta yufwe.
Now, this is how it was being done. This child who has got severe disability is taken out of the house under a big tree, and they dig a very big hole like a grave. They put the child in that grave and they pour a lot of water. And as the child is struggling to come out, they would even get a piece of stick which has that shape and make sure they press the child into the water so that the child is drowned.
And then they just cover him up.
Yeah, then they cover. They put back the soil.
So when she delivered and she had the sound of that child, she said, no, this is not a normal child. Legs are like this, the mouth is cut. Go and roll this child immediately. So there was a lake nearby. They went under a tree known by a local name, Mkone. So they dug, they fetched the water, they inserted in the hole, they took the child, drowned in that water. After drowning, the water sinked down, so they took sand and started filling the hole. We heard the voice of that child. The child was very huge and he was stamina such that you would hear that is really a child and that child is dying. He cried up to the last moment. We really knew that child is dying. So when my father came, she just told the story that I have given birth to a abnormal child, and I thought that was a child who could not help us. It would be a bother in the family, and that is a curse. So I told those ones who were midwives to go and draw that child. So my brother was killed.
While the practice of child elimination has decreased in the past few years, the general attitudes of fear and hate toward those with disabilities are still those of the majority.
Through reading some books and getting information from people about the causes of disability, we are seeing people changing their attitudes towards children and adults with disabilities. However, still, the majority of Kenyans have negative attitudes.
To educate the community that these things are not a curse, to educate them on that. So what you're doing is actually meeting spiritual and physical needs at the same time, and you can't really separate those two. Kupenda means to love in Swahili, and so Kupenda for the children means to love for the children, which is really the central focus of our group, is for these children to feel that they're actually loved and accepted.
They only need your smile, nothing else. Don't give them money, don't give them, but they just need your love. That smile of yours is more important to them than anything else.
I mean, that is what all kids want. I mean, everybody in every country, I think even adults, children, everything is the same. People just want to be loved. They want to be loved for who they are.
While steps have been taken to aid those with disabilities, there is still so much to be done in the mind of the majority.
I believe one day we'll reach a point where a majority of the Kenyans will know more about disabilities and they will have a positive attitude towards these people with disabilities.
Thousands, by proof of free from sin. It could only start with you. It could only start with you. Like a